Hey there guys, welcome to another episode of Ghost Talk. Now, this video is going to be actually split up into two because the video that we have for this one is about 40 minutes in length. So I'm going to try and keep it to 5 and 5. So it's Nuke's top 5, but he did 10 for this video. So we're going to be doing the 10 through 6, stop there, and then the next video will be 5 through 1. Again, I am doing this live over on twitch.tv/EctoMaster. I forgot the master part. So you can come over there and say hi and join us for as we do this live. And there's one thing that I wanted to do, and I got rid of chat, and I didn't mean to get rid of chat this time. Let me find it. Oh, there it is. Right at the top. That's not the chat scene. There it is. There's the chat scene. Alrighty, guys. Let's get into it. This is, again, Nuke's Top 5. Link is down below. And, of course, let's get into it.
Top 10 ghosts caught on camera. Mistaken identity. The next few videos were uploaded to TikTok by a widower from Tennessee who prefers to keep his identity anonymous.
So let me just go ahead and speak on this end of it. When it comes to TikTok videos, I am very, very hesitant to believe a lot of what is being said. So on top of that, when your channel is named Dude, My House is Haunted, I'm already going to be very, very suspect of what what is going on.
He says that he's experienced some odd things in his house over the last 11 years. But recently, the activity has become much more extreme. He sets up security cameras to capture the bizarre incidents. And he says that he believes that the spirit might be the ghost of his beloved deceased wife coming back to visit him. So early one morning before heading out to work, the man walks into the kitchen to discover this.
Well, as you can see, it's morning, guys. This is just a quick update because I got to get to work. But when I got up this morning to get my coffee, I walked into the kitchen and saw this. So I guess you guys were right that activity seems to be picking up because I have been, doing renovations. I replaced all this stuff, this dishwasher, this stove, the oven hood there. But this morning when I came into the kitchen, I noticed the cabinet was open. And then I noticed this chair. So I checked the Ring video, and it definitely freaked me out. So
let me just go ahead and say that, number one, renovations do have a tendency of kicking up activity, but replacing equipment like stoves and hoods and things like that, normally you don't see anything really. We're talking like major renovations, knocking down walls, redoing walls, rewiring, things like that will kick up activity. Now, what I will say here that I considered rather interesting until we got into more of this video is how the chair moved. It moved to the left and then spun the opposite direction and went backwards, which is interesting. I will give it that. But I have other issues with another video, another part of this evidence that is being submitted. And it comes right now. Apparently there's a white mist that is supposedly supposed to be a figure, and then it gets violent and throws the chair. The timing of that is just...
When he reviews his Ring cam footage, it shows a chair sliding all around the kitchen on its own. And then a pale white figure seems to appear from nowhere and violently tosses the chair to the floor. But things are about to take an even more terrifying turn because one day the man starts to hear something walking up and down his hallway. He goes to investigate, and what happens next chills him to his core.
Hey everyone, remember I said I didn't know how I'd react if this thing started touching? It started walking towards me. And I feel a hand on my back. And I heard someone whisper. It was faint. But when I heard it walking away from me, I finally felt like I could move, and I ran, the whispering. It wasn't one voice. It was, a lot of people.
All right, let's get this guy an Oscar for the acting here. Because a minute ago he just said he couldn't hear what it was saying, and now he knows it was a lot of people, and
His people seemed stuck. They were all saying, "Help me."
it's interesting. He doesn't remember what they were saying, and yet he remembers what they were saying. I think he deserves an Oscar though for his crying there.
My hall walker is back. I'm gonna go into the hallway and see if I can hear. That sounds like it's down at the end of the hallway. Right back there.
Those footsteps sound like they're right there in front of him, to which that is telling me that he is making those sounds. So when it comes to EVPs, there's all sorts of classifications, but the highest is Class A, where you can hear exactly what they're saying and you can make out what it is that is being said. 90% of the time, you're not going to be able to figure out what is being said. A lot of it is just static or background noise, and it's very, very, very difficult to understand what is being said. The fact that you can hear, even though he's putting the subtitles, which I absolutely don't like doing, only because then it puts into your mind exactly what is being said. When I analyze evidence and they don't put the subtitles, I go, great. Everybody, tell me what you think is being said, and I'll give it like a couple of minutes in chat to see if anybody says anything, and then I'll listen to what others are saying. I'll go, this is what I'm hearing, but I can hear why you think this. But when you put the words on there, it's like, all right, it's saying help, help me, help us, help me, help me, help, 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 help. But you can also hear it. And if it's supposed to be multiple people and you can hear all of them, and it's coming through on a cell phone video? I'm not saying that it can't be. I'm just saying that it's very, very odd.
That felt like somebody's right standing behind me. That was somebody right behind me. It felt like their face was right here. Like they were really
Guy
tall.
deserves an Oscar for his performance here.
That's not my wife.
The man weeps uncontrollably as he explains that he felt a hand on his back and heard multiple voices that seemed to be begging him for help. The man no longer believes that the presence haunting his home is the spirit of his deceased wife. He now believes that it might be multiple spirits, or perhaps even something more sinister. But what do you think is going on here? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments.
So my thoughts on this, not putting them in the comments of the video, but in here in the context of my own, I think he's staging this. It's being staged for views on TikTok to get money or what have you. So I don't think he has a ghost. I think he's staging this entire thing.
What's wrong with this picture? This next spooky video was posted to Reddit by a mysterious account that has since disappeared. The Reddit user claimed that a friend took a very odd iPhone Live photo of their family. Now, for those who don't know, an iPhone Live photo records 1.5 seconds of video before and after a picture is taken. So the photographer says that everyone in this picture was accounted for, except for one disturbing extra. As the photo is taken, a bizarre white figure on all fours appears out of nowhere and crawls out of sight. Strangely enough, whatever this is was not there in the photo and just seems to appear out of thin air. According to the Reddit post, the person who recorded the live photo has no idea who or what this could be. So, what do you think this is?
I think it's interesting, but there's nothing else to go off of. Could have been a dog, could have been mist, could have been smoke from something. Kid could have farted. Who knows? There's no information. There's nothing that happened before, nothing that happened after. It's just an interesting photo that could very well be a camera glitch on the phone.
Really haunted.
Now, when it comes to this video, we have watched this clips from this channel before, and I have been very, very, very suspect of this channel. And I will say we did watch this video already on the Twitch side. Unfortunately, I meant to record it. I wasn't in the best of frame of mind when we watched it, so it is something that I kind of just went over. This is more questionable from this channel. There are times it's like it's really interesting, and then there's times it's like and this is one of those times because really not good.
For the last 3 years, Lee from the Paranormal YouTube channel Really Haunted has been documenting terrifying paranormal activity that he and his wife have been experiencing inside their home in England. The supernatural events have become increasingly more extreme and violent throughout the years, and Lee says that he is desperate to find a solution to his paranormal problem.
Hi guys, so over the last few nights it's been absolutely crazy in the house. I don't remember the last time I had a good night's sleep lately, if I'm being honest.
Now Lee
Honestly, I make those kind of noises at night anyways.
keeps static cameras set up in his bedroom and living room that constantly record. Late one night, he and his wife Stacy are sleeping peacefully in bed when the static camera catches something truly unnerving.
The dog just at the top of the bed. This is one of the ones where I think is very, very suspect. It's showing like two different scenes that are supposedly at the same exact time, except that one scene has different sounds than the other scene. Like, why not show both of them happening simultaneously at the same time? You know, one in one corner, one in the other. That's what I would do. This is where it gets a little suspect. Because something lifts up off of the floor and there's like smoke coming from it. Which, I am speaking as somebody who has no experience in ghost hunting but has watched plenty of videos, seen plenty of evidence, and can conclusively say never seen smoke coming from an object. Ever. And it literally is hanging in the air until it just drops to the ground. And there's smoke coming from it the whole time. That does not make sense. That has never been recorded. Like, there have been testimonies of something looking smoky, but not smoke dripping from an object as it hangs in the air. Like, this would be the very first time in decades of having something like this. Very suspect. I mean, the dogs are acting appropriately.
These poor little dogs grow increasingly upset as they hear loud bangs coming from somewhere in the house. Then a small teddy bear appears to be lifted up into the air by some sort of odd smoke-like entity. Lee decides to change up his recording equipment and adds an SLS Connect camera to the mix to
Now, I have seen a lot of SLS cameras and a lot of footage using SLS. And let me just say that of the footage that I have seen, and those that include possible evidence of paranormal, what we are about to witness would be astoundingly amazing if it was real. And I don't think it is. For one main factor, and I will get into that in a moment, you can kind of see what it's going for here. The problem that I have is this is a much thicker line for the body than I have ever seen on any SLS. Most of it is wireframe. It is a very thin line that goes down and around the body. This one is very, very thick, and I do not know or understand why. But it is my belief he's staging it.
see what it might.
And I will explain why I think he's staging it in a moment. There's two reasons why, but there's one. One is kind of obvious, one kind of isn't until you understand how SLS works.
Capture. Late one night when Lee is alone and fast asleep in bed, this happens.
This is where I have an issue. It is perfect, almost perfectly capturing his head, both of his arms, one of his legs, and the other one is a little bit questionable. If this was a true SLS camera, if this was capturing SLS as it's supposed to, this would not exist. He is under a blanket. Speaking from my own experience of using an SLS and the fact that I've used the Xbox Connect, I am physically handicapped. Whenever I used it, I would be sitting down. The camera would not know how to render the fact that my lower right leg does not exist. Whether I'm sitting down or standing up, it has a very difficult time of rendering it. Yet it is rendering him perfectly underneath a blanket. That's issue number one. Issue number two is this unknown figure, and I'll explain why in a moment. until this point, it is on screen for approximately 50 seconds. And I know that doesn't sound like much. Again, I have watched a lot of SLS footage, and figures are on there for maybe 10 seconds at most. 50 seconds, nearly a minute, and an SLS figure is there for that entire time? That is way too long for an SLS figure. Way too long for an SLS ghost. Typically, they're about 10, maybe 15 seconds, and this is already 5 times the amount? That's already bringing up tons of questions to me. And then it returns. I know it's the same figure because it's going through the same motions here, or very similar motions. And again, it's still on the screen. And again, it's going for about 30 seconds now. It's about to hit 40 seconds. 40 seconds right now. It's about to be on screen for about 50 seconds again. The blanket scene doesn't seem to phase it. We're coming up onto 1 minute that it's been on screen. This doesn't make sense. Like, I have never seen an SLS figure that is supposed to be a ghost on screen for this long. It's been on screen for more than a minute.
The SLS camera picks up a figure walking around Lee's bedroom, and it seems to have a strange...
So if you consider the fact that one has been over a minute, one was just under a minute, the whole thing has been on screen for about 2 minutes. There have been so many ghost interactions and interactions with ghosts and with entities that something this long doesn't exist. Any interactions barely, like, you'll have maybe a conversation of sorts going on, either through flashlight or REM pod or knocking, and that may go on for a few minutes, but video evidence, audio evidence, like, it doesn't last this long.
Interest in Lee's bed.
The one thing to keep in mind is that ghosts are comprised of energy, but they don't have anything to really house the energy. They're there. They're part of the ambient energy, and they exist. But not for this long.
Bedside table. The figure then climbs onto the bed. Next, it seems to creepily lean right over Lee to violently knock over the bedside table. Later, a static camera in the living room records something absolutely terrifying. Did you see it? As the light flickers on and off for
with all the flashing lights, no.
just a fraction of a second, a very tall, dark figure can be seen standing in Lee's living room. Lee said,
it just seems very coincidental that during this very dark period where, a figure appears. Like, again, I have seen lots of footage, I've seen lots of evidence, I've even criticized some of the best evidence that has been out there. One of the ones that is pointed to as being authentic, and I still question to this day, Ghost Hunters, where they recorded a Civil War era ghost in a locker with a thermal camera, and I was sitting there going, but it's kind of positioned just like Grant is, just to the side, and his whole figure, it's just could be a reflection of his energy off of the locker. And I still doubt that it actually was a ghost, just because of the way everything was, I don't want to say set up, they just may have been confused. This, it doesn't make sense. I've never seen anything like this. I've seen shadows walk, I have seen photos of supposed full-bodied apparitions, I have heard EVPs, I have seen all sorts of different bits of evidence. I have never seen something that is almost, God, what does it remind me of? Like Doctor Who or something, where like you're like flashing
Says that
in
this
and
footage
out.
is the creepiest thing he's ever recorded in his home, and it has left him terrified. But what do you think is going on here?
I think he's staging
Lee's
this
home,
and has
quote,
been staging
really
it for
haunted?
years, and is just.
You can watch many more scary
Trying to
videos
do
of
it
Lee's
to get YouTube
paranormal
views.
encounters over on his YouTube channel, Really Haunted. Before we move on to the next video, if you see anything that you think should be included in the top 5, contact us at nukestop5@gmail.com. Watch your back. This next video was sent directly to me by Nuke's Top 5 viewer Elias, who lives in Brazil. Elias says that he usually records videos while playing the piano just to help him memorize the chords that he's learned. But this time, he accidentally records something very creepy.
So I have one big
Elias is
question with
terrified
this.
when he sees a dark silhouette standing.
Why did he suddenly pan up if he's supposed to be recording what he's doing on the keyboard? To that point, he's only using one hand to do it. Speaking as somebody who is not very good at playing a piano, you usually don't play with just one hand, you play with two. So he's using one hand to record and when the other to play the notes, and then he pans up to his computer screen. Something doesn't make sense to me.
Behind him in the
Something
reflection
doesn't
of his
seem
TV.
right on this.
He quickly turns around, but there's nothing
And the
there.
more it's on.
So could Elias have recorded
TikTok.
a paranormal entity on camera? As always, I leave it up to you to decide.
There's one thing I'm going to do real quick. I do this with a lot of my videos. If I'm... Okay. So it doesn't seem to be a full, true edit. This happens quite often when you have somebody zooming around on their camera.
Lost.
I still think it may have been set up and staged prior.
Paranormal investigation team Ochai, Uchida, Nagao, and cameraman Minaguchi from the YouTube channel Zozozo traveled to the allegedly haunted Shinshu Kanko Hotel in Nagano, Japan. The ominous sprawling hotel.
Now, before we get into this, I will say that I have seen lots of videos from Japan of, again, supposed paranormal activity. Vast majority of those are set up, staged, and edited because they have the ability to do that. One of them being the fact that a lot of it is hidden behind anonymity. They blur out faces and locations and things like that. A lot of it is staged. A lot of it is set up. And again, I've already watched this video on my Twitch channel, and I again believe that this is nothing but staged.
Hotel was built in 1951 and now resembles a creepy maze-like structure after repeated expansions and renovations for over 46 years. The hotel eventually declared bankruptcy in 1997 and was left abandoned. And now here's where things get weird, because not one but 3 different demolition companies have attempted to tear down the Shinshu Kanko Hotel. All of them failed, went bankrupt, and were forced to stop. Creepiest of all, the managing director of one of those companies just disappeared completely. Another demolition manager claimed that he was pushed down a staircase by some invisible force. Workers on the demolition teams found the experience unnerving. They would complain of hearing the unexplained creepy laughter of women throughout the hotel's winding halls. Many believe that the maze-like construction of the hotel is the reason why spirits have become lost and trapped in an eternal search for the way back out. While the Zozozo team explores the large hotel, they begin to hear disturbing sounds coming from somewhere nearby.
何ここえ、何これどういうえ、何これ失礼しますどういう部屋なんだこれ手の手もはい何の音ですか いや、めっちゃショートしたよ。上からショートしましたよね、今。なんだこれ、撮れてんの？待って待って待って待って。怖い怖い怖い怖い。何の音マジで何の音なんか泣いてる？やばいやばいやばい。いや、やばいやばいやばい。なんかもう。何の音？俺ら以外いるのかな？我々以外にいるんじゃないですか？普通にその肝試しに来てる地元の方。ちょっとさ、音が異常だよね。普通に歩いてる感じの音だよね。誰かが動いてる音。扉開けたり、足音だったり、なんかどかしたり、普通に誰かとバッティングしてる可能性はあるんで。バッティングだったらまだいいけど。
The team hears the sound of footsteps and something that sounds almost like the crying of a child. They wonder if they might not be alone in the building.
Except that it sounds just like a door
they continue
opening.
to explore. That's when they spot something terrifying.
の建物の構造ですよ、これ。めっちゃショートした。何？何？あそこ何ですか？わかんない。あれ人じゃないか？わかんない。見えないですか？一番この突き当たりの扉みたいな穴開いてますよね。穴っていうか。あそこ人立ってないですか？カメラ見てもらえます？わかんない。別に来る。何？怖いよ。行ってみます。ちょっと待って。いや何本当に人がいるの？ちょっと待って。声かけ。
Yes, it's a person, either with them or just randomly. It is another person. I will give them credit on that they're not running and screaming and crying like some others would do. I'll give them that much, but almost looks like they're wearing a mask as well, so probably a person. Furthermore, a ghost being that clear on camera doesn't happen often, if ever. Especially when it's just a base camera. It's not the night vision, it's not full thermal, it is just basic camera. Basic bitch camera, and you're picking up almost a full body apparition? Highly doubt it.
そう言われたらそうにしか見えないんだもん。めちゃくちゃ震える。でもさ、ほんと違う、さすがに違うよね。いや、わかんないですけど。いや、もうちょっとやあの木ですか？違いますよね。ちょっと待って。なんかちょっと鳥肌が止まらないんですけど。ちょっと外だ。木で違う？木っすね。人隠れてるとかマジで本当に怖い。外完全に外。もう外ほら建物終わってる。うわ。崖じゃん。下崖じゃん。
The Zozozo team sees someone standing in a doorway at the end of a hall and start to freak out. When the dark footage is enhanced, it becomes clear that there is indeed an odd figure just standing there, seeming to stare right at them. As they move closer to investigate, the figure now seems to have disappeared into thin air. But that's not all, because the most disturbing encounter of the night is something that the group did not even notice. At one point, the team splits up to explore different parts of the building. Uchida and Nagao are alone and making their way towards the rooftop when they capture something absolutely terrifying.
長年手つかずだったところが去年の秋に解体が始まった。
去年2018年の秋頃に、違う6月か6月に始まって去年の2018年の秋頃に、
でそれがピタッと、
ピタッと待っちゃったんだよね。これから8階に帰ります。
Did you see it?
Yeah, there's a person on the side of the thing trying to like maybe hide as best as possible so that they don't see them.
The creepy stranger is facing the wall, seemingly unconcerned as the two
He has his own shadow from the
pass.
looks of it.
The Zozozo team never even noticed this person while filming. The figure was pointed out in YouTube comments. The Zozozo team has no idea who this is. They believe that it could just possibly be one of the spirits trapped in the old hotel. But what do you think these eerie apparitions could be? let me know down below.
All right, that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Keep in mind that there is a part 2 where we're going to look at 5 through 1, and we will analyze those as well. So thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below if you think that there is something that I may have missed in all of this. Again, thank you very much, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.